feeling. That's not really what he's saying.
Drivers are in the midst of the preparations for the races, as we are happy to have you behind the paywall now for coverage of the Indy Karting Challenge. Round number 12 continues here on Kart Chaser. Justin Prince alongside Taylor Burris for today's coverage as we get all set to go for the racing this afternoon. The heat race is 5 minutes plus 2 laps. The features / finals will be 10 minutes plus 2 laps distance. Once again here, Taylor, we've seen some good action over the course of this weekend so far, but today, for its heat race time, we'll have to see how these classes do battle. Qualifying is one thing, the races are a whole nother deal.
It's all about now making sure you hit your marks, take care of your equipment, and are there at the end for this heat race in order to get the best possible starting position for your feature race this afternoon. And we're about to see the action really kick off into overdrive with our 206 cadets. Total of about 5 races for us here to cover this afternoon.
Yes, absolutely. And we'll have a busy time with those races coming up here. We'll see where things stand once we get on through here. We're just about a minute away from cadets heading the racetrack for them. Bozera at the top of the board. It was Diesel Maxwell within 2/10, Jackson McNeely and Kyler Hendrickson, who are all part of the class here today for those drivers. And remember that championship, how things have gone down for a cadet coming in. James Fox, he's not one of the drivers in the field today, but McNeely, depending on what happens, could potentially get himself up there. However, remember James Fox does now get himself extra points added to his categories with the 50 and a 155 from round 1. Going to go back to his totals here. There's the starting grid for our first race once again. As mentioned, Lazare up at the front. Yeah, Maxwell, you have McNeely, you have Hendrickson, who will all be a part of this first race of the day, Taylor. Going to be interesting what Diesel Maxwell can do to be able to battle with that 880. The 880 earlier in the micros and minis just took off.
He certainly was. And I got to say, if Diesel, Maxwell, and Jackson McNeely could not make any mistakes, they could try and possibly work together and challenge Bo Laser for the feature win. But they got to be careful, not make any mistakes, don't get over-aggressive on those opening laps like we saw them do in the mini Swift category earlier this morning. So I think if they can just mind their P's and Q's, get into a rhythm, and make the run, I think we could see them challenge Bo Laser for the win.
So their kart's now getting released onto the racetrack. Again, it was a conversation if we get 2 laps or 1 by a couple of the competitors once the temperatures picked up, and it looks like that answer is we do indeed get the 1 pace lap here instead of the 2. So should be in a good window to be able to warm things up here, but that's really because the temperatures are a lot hotter than they were by at least 10-15 degrees compared to earlier heat races. Going to be a little bit more different feeling on the racetrack. Still cold out there, Taylor, but not as cold.
Honestly, this is the kind of weather I would enjoy. A nice pair of pants, a short sleeve shirt, and a light jacket to enjoy this kind of weather. I mean, in the low 50s, a little bit of a breeze. That's pretty comfortable weather. I say that's perfect racing weather for us here today as we get set to go racing. And they're going to get the signal one more time around, I think. I think they're going to get 2 warm-up laps here. Or they could just be ready to rock and roll with how warmer it is compared to earlier this morning.
Here we go. The drivers all set to go. One more look at the grid. Lazare Maxwell in control at the front. Being told to slow down the pace a little bit for the tram lines as the green flag waves. The cadets are underway. A good start for the 880. Able to clear on by everyone. As they zip on through turn 2 side by side. Pops up for second. McNeely trying to go places quickly. Maxwell feeling the pressures of the opening corners, Taylor.
Diesel Maxwell already putting on a great showing here as they'll go battling for the second position. One kart nearly loses control, is able to gather it back up. I believe that was McNeely who was able to continue on, falls into the clutches of Hendrickson, and now has to try and catch back up to your top two as they make their way over to the Daytona curve. And so far, it is going to be the driver of Maxwell and Laser leading the charge, getting themselves lined up, and start to push and pull away from the rest of the competition.
Here they go as they run on through. Lazier runs away. The 880 looking to keep his laser pointer focused on being up front. Went a little bit wide though. Went through the newer pavement for the Rhino liner, but able to keep it on track up at the front of the field. Maxwell provides the pressure. Hendrickson has dropped the fairways back already from this top three. Everyone's staying pretty well connected here as McNeely needs to give chase here, needs to pick up points. Wants any true chance. McNeely has won races this season. He won one final after all in round 9. If he wants a true shot at the championship on Fox, he better get a move on from that third position. Still 3.5 minutes to go.
How about the pace that McNeely has? It was able to catch back up significantly to your top two as Bo Laser and Diesel Maxwell continue to charge away, but McNeely really dropping the hammer here on the opening lap, setting fastest lap of the race by a good 1/10 of a second over your top two right now, and he is barreling down on them and ready to go chase them down for a chance of the race lead here with 3 minutes to go as they head down the back straightaway into the braking zone. Everyone now just trying to settle in, seeing how the tires are, and how about the run from McNeely? Maxwell has been struggling on that corner all day long, just trying to find the right way to grip up and get the run he needs, as here he comes. Maxwell losing more touch with your race leader as McNeely looks to try to capitalize on it and take that second spot away.
Yep, right now as they come across the timing beacon, the separation's growing up in front of them. At this point, McNeely might need a little bit of luck with the way things are going. Maxwell doing a good job driving forward away from the 538 here. Coming around 2 minutes to go, up on the board. Maxwell all of a sudden just losing a ton of ground. A lot of smoke is kicking up. Might be from the temperatures. Not sure if it's something with the kart. They are still pushing. Now it's really smoking, and it's McNeely is all over the place on the back end.
That is something going on with the engine or the exhaust right there. That is a lot of smoke for it to be temperature-wise as far as the cooler temperatures. That is not good for the driver of Maxwell. He has got to be losing horsepower and RPMs as this progresses, and McNeely struggling to find a way to get around Diesel Maxwell to where it could cost him to lose touch with Laser. Finally clears Maxwell, but I would like to know what has gone wrong. You see the smoke pouring out of that exhaust.
Yeah, that kart is imploding for Maxwell in a big way. Potentially maybe leaking fluids, you'd have to think, with that much oil, or that much smoke, should say, coming out. But it's secured things for Laser with 1 minute to go. Should be coming across to 3 laps to go here, Taylor. That gap has just been, well, grown up like as much as possible. That's going to be a hard gap to close in any case here. At this point, the 880 can celebrate up front as long as they keep it on the racetrack. But for Maxwell, it's a test to see how much they can close now with that big of a mulligan given to the 880.
Yeah, that's going to be a big loss there for McNeely. Maxwell, of course, he's just got to try and bring it home. I would even consider bringing it down into the pits to go ahead and get an early start of working on that kart to see what the problem is to that 141 machine, honestly, given the fact of the situation. With 10 seconds plus 2 laps to go, not a whole lot you can do to gain on positioning of the race here, as McNeely is 3 seconds behind. There's no way he can make that up in 2 laps.
Yep, at this point, Laser can just keep head on the drive. Let's get a chance to celebrate a race win in the heat at least. 141 Maxwell has indeed parked it on the side of the road, by the way. That in turn one, that took a while for them to come to a stop. So many laps. Hendrickson has now gotten himself to third. As a result, Maxwell have to see if it's terminal for his race hopes later today. They're going to be able to fix whatever the problem is by the time we go back racing for the final. About a lap and a half to work with for the 880. The gap is not shrinking. In fact, Laser keeps on sending fastest lap times here. He's going quick. 51.5s.
And he's continuing to stretch out that lead. He picked up 0.4 of a second last time by. Let's see what the gap is when he comes across the line. Doesn't set fastest, but still sets consistent time of a 51.6. McNeely, a 51.89, setting a personal best, but still 3.8 seconds behind your race leader.
Yep, 2 laps now is triggered here on the board. It looks like they did give him the extra lap here based on the time on the sequence. So at this point, Laser just needs to stay on the track. McNeely is starting to improve more and more, still setting his own personal best, but again, it's not enough. With him no longer in drafting distance to Laser to have a chance to battle for this race lead. So this time by, white flag is now out. Final time around for the 880.
Final time around, and he is looking to continue on with a strong performance here today to sweep double race victories in both of his 2 respective classes. And I gotta say, Bo Laser, I have to say, watching on to see what he can accomplish in 2026, whether it be in 206 category or in the mini micro Swift categories in 26, as he looks to try and continue on with a great performance here today and lead the charge down into the hairpin for the final time.
Just a couple more corners for the 880 machine to dominate. Bo Laser has dominated each of his races so far today, regardless of class. That continues here in this one. The 880 will take the win in the heat. McNeely gets himself 45 points for race number 2 of his day for class. Kyle Hendrickson in third. Diesel Maxwell was a DNF as the Kart imploded. A look top to bottom once again at your run through here today as we get ready for our next pack coming up soon on track. So that being said here, an interesting start to the racing, Taylor. Obviously the Maxwell situation really spread things apart, but obviously you can't count on that happening every single race if you're Laser.
Nope, you cannot indeed. You got to be ready to see and defend your positioning if the opportunity continues or persists, if that's where the case. You have to give it 110% every single lap here in these heat races. But it's going to be a little different now to see what will happen in the 206 Sportsman division. Blake Martinez and James Fox will be starting on that front row, and you're talking about 2 heavy hitters in the world of cadet racing and micro and mini Swift competition. So it's going to be fun to see these 2 go head-to-head today, and who has the better case of what will be able to come out of it.
Yep, so it's Martinez and Fox. Again, that's James Fox, not Ian. Chase Call, Braden Bornenham in fourth. Jessup and Simonowic are the drivers in the field today. They're all getting, that's the words from their officials and from their team members here. So we wait for pushback on the far side of the racetrack. That's the one delay here before we get going here. Got to clean up Maxwell's cart. We get to our next pack. So it should be an interesting time here, Taylor, to see if Martinez can hold on here. Fox, we know is fast, but can he battle it out and take the lead quickly here is the question.
It's going to be tough. It all depends on how the start of the race will go in this event. Fox, of course, we know how quick he is on the draw, how quickly he can work his way through, and what we saw in the earlier race of how quickly James Fox was able to get ahead in the micro division. Now, 206 Sportsman could be a little bit different scenario between the two because now it's going to be a little more even on the times between these competitors as far as how they raced in this category. So a lot is still up in the air. We'll know more once they go head to head here on this opening green flag lap, which they should be released out onto the track in a useful short moments.
Yep, so just got to be patient here as the clouds really starting to settle over the racetrack all of a sudden, getting very cloudy and the gates are open. It's time for them to pace it around here. Get ready to go racing. So all of them being told to double up here by the flagmen as they zip on by the what will be start line here today. Your expectations for this race here, Taylor, as we get ready to go?
It's going to be a battle of the Titans in this 206 Sportsman division. You have Fox, who is your 206 Cadet champion, knows a way around these 206 karts very quickly. And, of course, Martinez, who's been the dominant factor and one of the top consistent drivers in this category. And we know for a fact going into next season, these are the two that are going to go head-to-head most likely in both national, regional, and club level racing here at IKC at the K1 Circuit in Whiteland. So that's where it's going to boil down. This is a great little preview of what to expect.
People being told to slow down, get doubled up here so they can start this race. Martinez will be onto the inside. James Fox will be to the outside. Just about ready to go as they go extremely fast to the green flag. We're underway. And contact! Fox diamonds it down on top of Branham and Colin Company. That slows them down a fair bit already. Martinez able to build some buffer with that bit of contact we just seen. So we'll see if that gap maintains itself. So we make our way on through. Already look at how much the gap just closed in the span of a few corners by Fox.
Exactly. I mean, he's now all over the back bumper after being about 5 to 6 kart lengths behind Martinez there on the first couple of corners. What will Fox do? Will he be patient and work with Martinez to get away, make it a 2-horse race, or will he go on the attack and knows I am the faster kart? I am the one who's going to lead this race. We'll find out as they head down into turn number 1. He's not going to make a pass just yet. Just stay tucked up behind that number 38 Fernando Alonso kart and just work with him till he finds the opening he needs to take over the race lead, which could be right here. Nope, not close enough to send it in just yet. That backs it down a little bit and will follow the leader for the time being.
Yep, look at this battle though. Side-by-side spars out. It's taken over. Fox able to find a feisty move in the infield. Now looks to try and set sail. What a rocket ship for James Fox to start the day. Now looks to try and build the buffer fast as Martinez maintains drafting distance at least. Now takes the draft to the inside. Martinez slides across. Bit of a contact from Fox. James Fox looking to try and get the diamond lines built back up, but Martinez parking on apexes. Fox takes away an apex instead. Back and forth with Fox in front.
Incredible, great heads-up driving, and with those two battling, that brings in Chase Call into the mix. We're now going to have ourselves a 3-horse fight for the race lead as they work their way through, but I think now Fox has cleared him, got enough breathing room to not worry about Martinez closing the gap here, because right around this area is where Fox really lets that engine just go all out. That Briggs & Stratton machine pulls away to a couple of more kart lanes over Martinez, make it 0.6 of a second as Chase Call sets fastest lap of the race.
And not bad at all from Call, but the downside is for Call. He is already out the drafting range, just about. Going to have to push to get back into it here. It is hard to be able to get back within a group in the 206, especially at this level, unless you can find some rapidly different speed in your Briggs & Stratton motor. Sportsman, still seeing Fox in control now with under 2 minutes to work with on the racetrack. Look at this now. Call is just about within touch of Martinez. Martinez starting to become more the bridge, if anything else, to this fight. New fastest lap, Martinez, despite on the eye test losing ground a bit.
Yeah, he was able to find that little extra speed to make it a new track record for the 206 Sportsman. He has found the pace and looking to try to make it work for him, as he now has kind of stabilized the gap between himself and James Fox. Really hasn't made much ground, but has stopped the bleeding as he gets a good run out into the entry of the infield section, but not enough to really try to make a pass for position here at this time. But he is working to try to close that gap with 1:02 to go.
Just a couple laps coming up through. Gonna be close on how many laps we get here. Looks like it's gonna be 4. That by a couple seconds at least on the marker. Martinez digging. Misses a little bit of the bottom of the racetrack this time on his pursuit. Now stays within 2 kart lengths. Just maintaining the distance. Hasn't been able to pop the bubble as they have ditched Call now by a fair amount of time in their respective fight. So the separation has built up with Call. We'll have to keep an eye and see if Call's going to be able to keep up in the race itself later on today for the final. But Fox is doing a really strong job here on defending Martinez's charges here as we come up to what will likely be 3 laps to go. Keep an eye on the flag stand. Will there be 2s? No. They had it a couple seconds on the board. Martinez does get a chance. Martinez spooks Fox, hits him, bumps him out of the way, but now doesn't have the preferred groove. Fox holds on in front after the bump.
How about this? If we see Fox goes down to the bottom and holds off the hard charge from Martinez. Great defensive and heads-up driving, even with the argy-bargy going on between the two of them as they work their way down into the hairpin. And Blake Martinez is got the fastest lap of the race with that 49.56, but it's not working in his favor because Fox is placing that kart directly in the path of Blake Martinez to keep him out of the chance of leading as they come around 2 laps to go.
A few more times around here to be able to battle it out. 2 to go, showing on timing as they get the signal now with the flag stand. All of this as well, Martinez has taken a couple big leaps. Whatever he's built up enough for a run with the draft, it's been so critical to set that up in turn 1 here today, to be able to have a chance for the overlap by the hairpins to the sweeping portion of the racetrack with this layout. They make their way on through. Coming up to the white flag this time by.
Can Martinez dig a little deeper, find that little extra, and go on the aggressive side to try and weaken the defense of James Fox? Here they come across the start-finish line. This is where Martinez has had the best pace and show of force to get around Fox for position. Not close enough to try anything through here of turn 1 and 2 as they come through the triple apex of 2 through 4. And as they head down the back straightaway, Martinez seems to be running out of steam right now.
Final time around, as now will Fox be able to hold on with the pressure from Martinez? Martinez stays within spitting distance. Loses ground, coming to the middle sector. Back up to Daytona they go. Fox in command. Just needs to stick it out for a couple more corners. James Fox, welcome to Sportsman. He gets himself a heat win and starts things off with a bang yet again. He holds off Martinez and Call. Someone else gets up to 4th. Brenham starts off strong but drops to 5th. Jessup. drops down to the 6th position rather, for the very end out of the 6 karts into 06 Sportsman. So look through the running order here again for our second heat race of the day out of the 5 for the afternoon session here on Kart Chaser. So next up in the order is going to be the Masters here coming up, Taylor. We'll see how they respond in their race.
It's going to be an exciting one here. There you see they are on the grid right now, and we get set to see those 206 Masters drivers fire up. Here's your starting lineup: Derek Hastings along with Troy Toney, Melvin Goodsey and Kevin Simonellic, followed by Brian Williams and Eric Spilling. Neil Phelps, Chad King, and Joseph Dirtier will round out your 9-kart group in the 206 Masters. Couple of thumbs up, couple of congratulatory bumps, and make sure we put on a good show for the fans out here. We like to see all the fans that are out there on the track here today. Of course, some of them might just be ready to just come out here, sit, and get ready to watch some action and maybe have a chance to get behind the wheel of one of the rental karts at the end of day. And even though it's going to be a little bit after 5 o'clock when we get done with the racing action, it still goes on till about 9 o'clock tonight for those who are there at the track. So if you're in the area, make sure to head on down to the K1 Circuit in Whiteland to have a chance to race the same circuit that these drivers have been racing on all day today, or one of the other configurations that the amazing K1 Whiteland circuit has provided around here as the 206 Masters start their parade lap.
So they get themselves warmed up for the racing here in this one. Let's find out how they'll fare out in this race coming up. Hastings setting the tone earlier on in the qualifying session. Reminder how things look in this championship for the 206 Masters. Well, Corkadale came into today with an advantage. Remember, came away with the win in round 11. Those totals, though, we'll have to get an official read on later on if we can. However, everybody else here today and ready to ride for 5 minutes plus 2 laps. See some of the officials just trying to make sure the signals come together as they come on through. Spilling was not caught up with the field, though, and it looks like they're going to send him around again since there wasn't all the karts lined up there, your Taylor. It's going to be important that everyone's there.
Yeah, it certainly is, and we're going to see how it all plays out amongst them as they work their way through. I got to say, I'm excited to see what Hastings and Toney will do. Also, Brian Williams. Yes, he's a 206 Legends driver and champion, but he's not afraid to get up there with the other drivers in Masters. I even seen him run in the senior category, if I remember correctly, at least once when they did the Masters and senior medium categories combined.
It's just about ready for the game plan to move forward here. Hastings will start on the inside, Toney on the outside. Hastings in the all black. Toney in the white and red kart. Monster front runners here. So Dirte, also part of the running order, has not gone on racetrack though. As we get ready, green in hand, and we will get it. We're underway with Hastings trying to clear as they make their way through, but look at this. Toney kept it alongside, gets the switchback. Troy Toney takes himself to the race lead, and now Hastings relegated to second.
Hastings now has a little bit of work to do as Troy Toney leads the charge as they enter in the infield section under racing speed and pace for the first time here today in your 206 Masters. Simonellic Spillings also inside the top 5 as Hastings falling into the clutches of that number 83 machine.
Yeah, Gotzi trying to keep up as well as they go. As as they will now make their way on through, lined up astern as they work. Hastings needing to gain some momentum pretty quickly here. These clouds have taken a turn here as we reach the late afternoon, by the way. Things going to get a little bit cooler now. Expect to get to 52 now by the time we get around 5 o'clock-ish. So that may impact some of these drivers in terms of their setup balance here compared to earlier, Taylor. We're starting to see how the choices are faring out. Tony's kart seems to have a lot of giddy up on the short run.
It really does seem to be the case, but how will Tony and Hastings' karts be towards the end of this 5 minutes? As up on the curbing goes Tony, and he will continue on or Hastings actually gets on the curbing, and now he will have to try to work his way to hold off Goodsey.
Yep, right now, Goodsey trying to just find a way to get alongside at this point in this regard, but hasn't been able to chip away the 2-3 kart lanes. Have an opportunity on ascend. Tony's pulled away more than a second. He is gone from drafting range amongst the Masters here. That's how quick they've ran, as a couple of the drivers just cut their way through the grass. In fact, got right to the rear end, but he too cut the same corner Hastings did. They're following the line so evenly, they're not afraid to cut the corners together.
No, they're certainly not, and they are continuing to fight their way through as Goodsey and Simonelli are trying to close back up to Hastings. And as they do so across the line here, and as they work on through into turn number 1, Hastings kind of tapered off. It's not really gaining, not really losing. So Hastings had to figure something out, as Goodsey and Simonelli, as well as also Brian Williams, are now starting to fight for that final step of the podium.
Yeah, right now, Hastings, at the very least, seems to have the pace to hold on to second here. Has really built the cushion up. No one else has been able to change any spots here. This entire race outside the race lead has stayed the same, at least, for the most part. Looking at some of the air battles going on. Simonelli, Williams amongst those closed up. Simonelli, the one in front. Williams pushing hard, though, after a dominating effort earlier today in the K8 chassis in his other class of the day. J. Brian Williams, already a one-time champion here this season here at K1 Circuit Whiteland.
Keeping an eye here on the competitors working their way around the circuit and watching that battle for the 4th, 5th position between Simonelli and Brian Williams, who are really putting on a good show for that position. As Brian Williams just trying to find his opening to get around Simonelli for that 4th spot.
Yeah, nothing has been done to change up the patterns here and make the passes here under a minute to work with here on the clock. Going to be interesting how many laps we get by the time we get to the start and finish line here based on the timing we have here. Hastings is setting personal best. He gained 0.6 last time by to the race leader. That gap is chipping away a little bit. Oh, wow. Simonelli and Williams still have not been able to switch things around in their swap around fight. Still bumper to bumper, still trying to ride. Williams keeps reaching him at the wrong spots, still has not been able to take advantage. That's the frustration, is when you know you have the speed in some areas, Taylor, but not enough to make the pass yet.
Yeah, that is a tough break right there, as you know you have what it takes, but can't get that little extra in order you need to challenge or make a pass for position. 3 laps to go, though, for them as they work their way across the line. Tony's still comfortable, but Hastings starting to close back in.
Yeah, Hastings chipping away the gap at the right time. Seems to have a long run kart for the races here. Has set things up to maybe thrive in the final few minutes, or better yet, within the 10-minute format for the final. That's going to be interesting for here. He's thriving right now, flying in the drafting distance now. Coming up to 2 laps to go. Double sticks in the air. Hastings all over the rear end of Tony. See how they're all working together on the far side of the racetrack here. Go ahead, Taylor, as they work their way to the middle sector.
Here comes the pass right here. Hastings gets to the bottom of Tony to try to set the pass up, but here comes Tony back around the outside. They're going to go 2 by 2, heading off towards Daytona. Who's going to keep it on the straight and narrow? It's going to be Tony who will survive.
Tony able to hold on for now as we come up to the white flag one more time around in this one. Hastings looking for another opportunity, any chance here to close up, but the problem is it took him at least 3 minutes to do so the last time. This is going to be hard to do here with 4 kart lengths the difference.
It's all going to come down to this. Can Tony hold on as they head down into the hairpin for the final time? And it's going to be an incredible fight to finish as Hastings tries to get the power back down as they climb up towards the banking of Daytona. And so far, Tony's doing everything he can. Hastings tries to go a little higher to build some momentum when we see him try something in the final corner. Not close enough. Dragging to the line, it's going to be Tony who takes home the checkered flag in your heat race for the 206 Masters.
Troy Tony takes the win over Hastings, 2/10 the difference. Gotze in third. Williams, Simanowic up there as well. Spilling gets the top 5 in a drag race over Phelps. Simanowic, King, your top 8 in the run order. So look top to bottom of the Masters run through here today. As we get set for our next grouping, 2 more heats to go. Clouds continue to settle over top the racetrack here at K1 Circuit Whiteland. KA Junior next up in the order here, Taylor. Those drivers, just 6 in that class, but a lot of championship ramifications potentially when it comes to them and their KA chassis. Again, that distance and points, just 6 for your top 2 drivers. Look at your run through here. Jordan Lapham, Andrew Vowles up at the front. Mason Gallion with Feitinger, with Siva Kumar and Wade. The rest of your field. Your thoughts on this grid here, Taylor?
Well, Jordan Lapham and Andrew Avalos are going to be the ones to keep an eye on, along with Mason Galen. Those 3 are your championship competitors going into this heat race. It's all going to be a matter of who is going to be able to avoid the chaos, who's going to be able to keep it on the track and put on a good show for us here. Lapham did pretty well in the 206 junior category, unlike his competitor of Dunn, who not unfortunately racing in the KA junior race today. So as long as Lapham doesn't have the roles reversed on him where he has a terrible heat and feature race, he's looking to try and clinch a championship and go for a double championship in both the junior categories.
Yep, this is going to be an interesting time for Jordan Lapham up at the front of the field. 4th in the championship coming into today. Has the chance now with Noah Lazier in the field today to maybe potentially, depending on how things go with the drop round, to take 3rd. Believe Lazier would actually hold on to the spot because he would get a 40 and a 145 re-added to his totals. So they're going to go around again. They weren't ready for them to double up here. So they'll try going around one more time, let them heat up the tires a little bit more here as things cool off out here. So the field now getting a chance to double up here Expectations for how this race is going to go, Taylor?
Lathan, Avalos, and Galen are going to put on a fight for the finish here. I know Fightinger may try to find his way through and see what Juju Sivakumar will be able to do, looking to try to go for 2 podium finishes in both feature races in the junior category.
Here we go, coming up to the start. Here we go, coming up to begin things. Lapham being told to slow down. They now fire up. Inside line gets the better run. We're underway. Lapham slides his way with a Mario Kart drift, but holds on to it through the Rhino liner. Able to get a huge jump over the rest of the field as they battle it out for second.
Good fight for the finish here as they work their way through. A little bit of separation for Avalos and Lapham, as Avalos gets a plenty of much of a gap ahead of Lapham and Galen, who has moved up into the second place. As you watch on screen here, there goes Lapham back to the front of the field, as you see on screen, of Avalos dropping all the way to third, with Galen sitting comfortable in second place. Watch Mason Galen. He is someone who has been consistent and has that great long run pace and may try to challenge Lapham in the closing minutes.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting how the battles go on with the 64 and the 7 here today. Right now, as things go, Gallion would be able to convert things to a 5-point distance where, remember, if the 64 was to take the lead here, that would be the huge part of this tail over the equation. They'd be able to tie with the 7, potentially, if not get within 1 point for the final race for their season here. So if you're the 64, you need to go, you need to close, you need to find a way to keep within the draft here. This time through, it was a 10th off of Lapham's pace, so that 64 is going the wrong way in terms of finding a way to the race lead.
Yeah, it's not working out in his favor whatsoever, and he's got to find that little extra in order to make sure he can keep pace with Lapham as they head down into the infield section. Galen starting to close back up. Same thing with Avalos. He's found a little bit of extra right there to try to make sure he can keep pace with your top 2 as they climb the banking up towards Daytona. About 2 to 3 kart lanes separate each other in these minutes here as they come out of the final corner, sliding up the hill as they head on the front stretch.
Yep, still keeping within half a second up at the front of the field. Bills this time by had the fastest lap. Had a 45.183 on the time watch. Now gets himself within a kart length of being able to pick up points. Again, potentially cause a 1-point swing, at least in terms of the difference maker here. If he can make the pass, he's over the side, he's all over, he gets jumped off by the 64 like a coat.
He certainly did, and how about that? Not afraid to get the elbows up and ready to put on a fight here. But that's going to cause these two to lose plenty of time, though, to Lapham. As he comes across the line, the gap is now 1.5 seconds between your top 2. That is not what you want to have happen in this stage of the race.
Yeah, some great battling starting to pop up here as Lapham has ran away with them, starting to spar out for second. Again, only 1-point differences, second and third on the intervals for the championship metric. Under 90 seconds to work with. Gallion still tries to hold firm here. Run by Avelos, the 7 machine. Looking for a chance to pounce, a bit of a slide for Gallion. Will that open up the door? Gallion not going defensive. The 7 sends it through, clears on by, parks the apex, takes the lead. Takes second, should say, and makes the advantage up to 7 for the championship.
How about Steve Kumar also moving up into the 4th position, getting around Wade for that spot as well, right behind these two. They're putting on a good little fight for position as they'll also trade off once again with Wade, getting around Steve Kumar again for position.
A lot of squabbling going on here in the late stages, absolutely, as we go on. 35 seconds to go, 3 laps to go. Lapham still flying up front. Gallion looking for a way to pounce again. Looking to try and retake that point close up. Remember, not going to be the major significance here, this distance in points for the final here, though, Taylor. That's going to be even more critical. It's 10 points a spot, basically, in terms of how things go in that category, and 20 points difference between first and second spot. Should I correct myself? 5 points between second and third in the category. So there is a lot that can happen in terms of things depending on where they square up in the final compared to Lapham. But the Sevens doing exactly what they need to do to be in the driving seat for the championship with 2 laps to go. They try and work their way through into the infield here. Lapham still getting itself prepared for celebration, in his case. White flag coming out, final time around for the 8:17. We have tapped off their personal bests right now for them. Same for a majority of the drivers. Bell's holding on right now by just a small margin over Gallion in that battle for second. Gallion needs the points, but right now is not in position to go for it. Right now the 7 in a comfortable spot, to say the least, with the point metric. Now that you talk things about those point separations, second to third, but we'll have to see where things go in the next little bit. Coming on through, checkered flag. Lapham takes the victory over Avelos. Gallion in third. Sivakumar, the top 4. Wade, the top 5. Feitinger did not make it out after his issues earlier today. Look top to bottom of that running order here, Taylor. One more heat race to go.
The final heat race on the Kart Chasers coverage of the IKC at the K1 Circuit in Whiteland. And then it's time for the final feature events here for the season at K1 to give out the trophies and also give out the championships in 2026. And Senior Lights, they're about to do battle here, and this is going to be an exciting one. Can Heber find his way up through the running order, or will AJ Lund be spoiler here today in this category?
Here we go. AJ Lund up at the front of the field. Levi Wilbur second. Brandon Heber and Lucian Lazier in the top 4. Laser, Kelly, Sims, Hardin, Goldman, Patton, Smith are your top 10 drivers in this order for our final. As well, you also have Jeff Lund going to start 11th. Robert Carroll will start 12th. And Zachary Allen starts down in 13th position, Taylor. Going to be interesting where the battles fare out today in Senior Light to close out the heat race portion of the card, as Heber gets itself ready to go here to see if he can try and get himself a championship once more here today. That separation, remember, about the 200 points, one driver with a bit of a spin, as that is not the way you want things to start before you even get to the green flag. They'll roll on through. We'll see if they have to go in our lap because of that one.
I don't think that's going to have to be the case here, but we'll find out when they work their way around the circuit.
So they all try and get sorted out
start
here. Yeah. Looks like we're going to get doubled up. Everyone getting lined up and ready to go. Looks like the field It's ready to start. Heber of note, starting third. A few drivers trying to heat up their tires here. A lot of weeble wobbling here. A lot of swerving to make sure they get the heat in before they take this green flag. This is the slowest run to the tram lines we've seen all day today, by the way. Taking a slow crawl to make sure they take this right before they get to the start zone. Green, 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 and we're underway for senior light. The 206s have a spin at the back. A few drivers down and about. The rest of the field keeps going. The battle is on for second. It's Heber who clears on by to P2.
Heber doing everything he can, and he is doing that by getting second place away. Now has to go and try to hunt down A.J. Lund, which he does, with a mistake from Lund going into the infield section, and now has to go on the defense to keep him behind.
And all of them trying to figure out where they're going to stand throughout the rest of this race. Working the way through, Heber works the draft. Wilbur is dropped down to third. Lund stays up at the point after the beginning of this one. Also point away is Laser. Everybody else, outside of Kelly, has lost a fair amount of time on the racetrack. Robert Carroll and a couple others just now crossing the stripe. That's how much some of the drivers lost from that earlier incident. But the 8 machine going to set something up on a platter here in the midst of the battle. Again, as long as Heber gets a good heat race in Taylor, he clinches another class championship. Some of the drivers still scattered on the circuit on the far side, but all of these competitors have to consider points are on the table here, positions are on the line for their championship hopes, and Heber seems to be trying to play this out and plan things out to pass by Lund quickly.
He certainly is, but he's got to make quick work of it, because here comes Levi Wilbur with a head of steam, looking to try and take over the spot and lead the charge here, and he has the pace. We've seen what Levi Wilbur can do in some of the other 206 senior categories as well, as they make the run down into the inside apex or infield section of the circuit. A.J. Lund, though, stays tightly hugged up against that white line to try to prevent Heber from making a pass.
So now as they work their way through, about halfway to go in the race. Heber stays over the rear end, looks to try and hunt, looks to try and poke or prod, maybe in the opportunity to go for it. Nothing coming yet. Wilbur's just been chipping away this gap as this race has gone on. He set the fastest lap time of the race last time by after all. That's how quickly that 5:06 has been chipping this away, all to the back end of Heber on the checkup. No place to lunge. These drivers haven't been forcing the moves here, Taylor. They've been just waiting by their time for the right spots because of how tight this middle section is.
You got to be careful with how much time you want to wait on, and how about this with lap traffic in the way? That brings everybody back together here in this stage of the race. As Levi Wilbur, will he work with Heber or try to be more of aggressive, and he will send it down to the inside, move Wilbur up to second.
Wilbur able to make the pass and able to get himself around. Have to be able to work your way around as quick as you can here to be able to make the passes. So, as they work around, they start to squabble. Lund gets poked on. Now a poke again. This time Wilbur looked to the outside. They line back up. Coming up to the final minute on the clock as they work their way through the banking. All the pressure building up. Wilbur takes himself in the draft. Heber stays on behind. Less than a minute to work with. About 4 laps to go. Coming to 3.
Have you ever seen these exciting fights to the finish here as they work their way through? AJ Lund is trying to now hold off the hard charger of Levi Wilbur as he gets a run down the back straightaway. He'll look to the inside, side by side battle for the lead, and he will complete the pass. New race leader of Levi Wilbur.
Wilbur charging his way through this field to be able to pick up the spots. Originally started second, dropped down to third, lost himself near the touch the entire draft, and now is right into the hunt to be able to hold on for the race lead here, take himself 50 points for his category. 3 to go, 6 seconds to spare on the clock as they crossed on by there. They march on through. Lund takes the lower line, now diamonds his way out through, stays within 1 kart length as they make their way back through to the far side of the racetrack.
Heber is struggling to get the run he needs because here comes AJ Lund, puts a little bit of a bumper to the back of Wilbur, try to see if he can loosen him up a little bit, get himself ready to go back in front for the race lead.
Will Lund be able to find the run to retake this? Or just driving it out, ready to secure things for his title fight. 2 laps to go. Lund waiting for a place to go. Lund elects to push instead, trying to separate things out. Interesting, he didn't go for the pass there, Taylor, but he's waiting for the right moment, it looks like, for the final time around. Doesn't want to force it.
He certainly doesn't want to force it in this moment, but he's got to be careful with how much he wants to be on the defense, not make a mistake here, and realize he's not battling AJ Lund for the championship as well. It's him and Heber he's got to watch out for, as Heber gets a good run, but it's still, Lund is just putting so much pressure on him for this heat race win.
Here we go, coming up to the white flag, this time by. Coming up to the final time around with the white flag now up in the air. Lund has to go if he has the chance now. Didn't get close enough. Couldn't get him alongside. Trying to diamond himself down. Heber trying to force his way to the inside. Couldn't get to the door though. They all single file out, making their way to the far side of the track. Wilbur continues to play a little bit of defensive games now just in case, as Lund tries to build something up. Heber waits in the popcorn seat. One more opportunity to go with Wilbur in command. They hit Daytona for the banking. Gap stays the same. Wilbur holds on in front. Checker flag waves. Levi Wilbur takes the win over London Heber. Laser gets himself in front of Kelly, depending on how the shakeup goes there. No drag races there. It's Kelly who gets the swap on the final lap. Patton in 6th, Hardin in 7th. That gap was also closed. Did that change? Yes, it did. In good note. Hardin to 6th, Patton to 7th. Smith on with Sims and Goldman. Part of the drivers on track in the top 10. The rest of the drivers were Carroll and Lund, Jeff Lund, who were able to take part. We'll take a break. We come back. We'll go feature racing. You're watching Kart Chaser for the finals. We'll see how things go in just a bit.
Florida Kart Racers, you asked for it and we're going to bring it. Introducing Florida Karting Championship, FLKC, a brand new racing series coming to Florida in 2026.
Come on, man.
Cat food marketing. $9.99 a month.
Dude, Caleb, wake up. Dude, we're live in 5 minutes. Let's go. Come on. What are you doing?
Dude, I'm so sorry. Xander had me in a cat food marketing meeting till like 2 a.m. last night.
Come on, man.
Do you have anything I can drink?
Dude, I got the perfect thing for you. Perico. It's a healthy energy drink alternative.
Perico, non-GMO, gluten-free, kosher, magnesium, B12, B6,
Yeah, it's good.
B5, biotin, and zero sugar? Pericazo! Try Perico, made with natural ingredients, organic caffeine, and supports your metabolism. Try the new official energy drink of Kart Chaser.
This is Henry. Henry feels sad. Henry feels sad because it's time for his next big race and his go-kart is in bits. Henry doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing is the United States' #1 shop for all of your karting equipment needs. Henry also doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing can deliver anything from tires to race suits and even wheels directly to your front door or to the racetrack itself quickly and efficiently, with tech support available 6 days a week. Poor Henry doesn't even know that Acceleration Kart Racing offers free shipping to mainland USA on selected product if you spend $200 or more. Do yourself a favor. Go to accelerationkarting.com and make sure that you are never left stuck on the pre-grid with Henry. Be smart and don't be like Henry.
The K1 Circuit Semi-Pro League. This is a competitive race series with 2 classes. Junior Series for those who are under the age of 18, and the Senior Series for those who are 18 or older. If you think you have what it takes, come out and prove your skills on League Night. Both schedules are live on the K1 Circuit website. Your Kart Chaser live feed will resume shortly.
Hey, what's up, Caleb?
What's up, Brandon?
You sound defeated. A long day at the office?
Yeah, got stuck at a cat food marketing meeting for like 3 hours. I don't know a thing about cat food, and I don't even work in marketing. And then I got sent on a coffee run like I was some sort of intern. Then at the end of the day, when I went to go get gas, I just realized everything is so darn expensive nowadays, man.
Yeah, you got that right.
Like, do you have any idea how much we're spending on Netflix?
That's like $20 a month.
Do you know how much we're spending on cable?
That's like $50 a month.
But you know what isn't expensive?
Tell me.
Kart Chaser Premium. For only $9.99 a month, you can watch all the American karting action live from coast to coast. Subscribe and become a member today.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today.
Hi, I'm Jackson with Alpha Race Hub. Alpha is an all-in-one motorsports software solution that can solve all the software problems you need for your track, facility, or series. Alpha can cover all your software bases, from online registration, digital e-waivers, a proprietary timing and scoring software, incident management, automated points tabulation, tire and barcode scanning. We even have our own mobile timing app and rental kart activity management software. If you're looking to consolidate your motorsports software solutions, reach out to us at alphatiming.co.uk.
Are you looking to take the next step in your racing journey? Well, look no further than FitFit.
With 2 locations in Charlotte, North Carolina and Indianapolis, Indiana, PitFit trains drivers all the way from grassroots level karting to Indy Kart and NASCAR, with top-of-the-line personalized coaching to improve physical and cognitive fitness.
For more information on programs, check out PitFit on Instagram or Facebook today.
Wins the Wisconsin Grand Prix! James Overbeck on start number 2 gets win number 1 in OKN Stars.
On track or off, Brandon Jarsekrak Racing delivers elite performance. Led by 4-time Pro National Champion Brandon Jarsekrak, our team masters driver coaching, data-driven analysis, and mechanical precision at every national event. Contact us today at BrandonJarsekrackracing.com.
Kyle, what are you doing?
It's got my new Greyhound seat.
You don't even have a cart.
Doesn't matter. I have a Greyhound.
Who the f is Kyle Cuthbertson? Doesn't even have a go-kart.
Doesn't matter.
Cuthbertson through on Turney. Turney in the dirt.
Cat food marketing. $9.99 a month.
Dude, Caleb, wake up. Dude, we're live in 5 minutes. Let's go. Come on. What are you doing?
Dude, I'm so sorry. Xander had me in a cat food marketing meeting till like 2 a.m. last night.
Come on, man.
Do you have anything I can drink?
Dude, I got the perfect thing for you. Perico. It's a healthy energy drink alternative.
Perico, non-GMO, gluten-free, kosher, magnesium, B12, B6,
yeah, it's good.
B5, biotin, and 0 sugar? Pericazo! Try Perico, made with natural ingredients, organic caffeine, and supports your metabolism. Try the new official energy drink of Kart Chaser.
Florida kart racers, you asked for it and we're going to bring it. Introducing Florida Karting Championship, FLKC, a brand new racing series coming to Florida in 2026.
Paulie Massimino!
The clouds continue to form over top the racetrack. K1 Circuit Whiteland, your host of the Indy Karting Challenge once more as we get ready for the finals. Our finals just about ready to get rolling for 10 minutes plus 2 laps of racing for the final time in 2025 here on Kart Chaser. I'm Justin Prince, alongside me is Taylor Burris as we get set to go. Just less than 90 seconds to go on our countdown to green before we get the cadets onto the circuit here, Taylor. So far, seen some entertaining racing, especially in some of our later races for this afternoon's time slots. Going to be interesting where the finals break down, though, as we zoom our way through 5 races here on our coverage.
Exactly here, and we are excited to see how it will all play out amongst every single one of these final classes competing here today. What a great season. 12 rounds across multiple different weekends, dealing with multiple different weather issues and different varying conditions out there on the track, and of course different configurations to test the limits of every single driver that has come out and competed here at the Indy Karting Challenge at the K1 Circuit in Whiteland, Indiana. And great way to wrap up the season, and looking forward to seeing what's next for the series and the track here in the future.
Absolutely, this is going to be interesting where things shape up to close out the day. The cadets start things off. Already that championship is essentially clinched up here, so long as things go to plan for James Fox, who ended up moving up to Sportsman for today's finales. Again, that points difference coming into today is decent. 200,225 points is the category that Fox will end up in, the total should say. That difference between him and the current estimated total, 2,074, 151. McNeely, so far today, it's had decent speed, but today's not guaranteed to be his drop. That isn't factored in the points scored here today. So essentially, it could be intriguing where things shape up as the cars already at the racetrack. McNeely going to be up at the front with Laser and Maxwell. Also on track, Maxwell had issues with his kart after it blew up and ran with heavy smoke for around 2 to 3 laps before it parked to the side of the road. Hendrickson also is a part of this field, but isn't caught up to the field. Your thoughts here as we get ready to go, Taylor?
Well, tough break for Hendrickson coming out on pit road, off of pit road there and off the grid area as he looped it around. But McNeely and Laser, they're going to put on ourselves a good little fight, I think. As long as Laser, Maxwell, and McNeely don't have any engine issues, I think we could see ourselves a really good fight to the finish here in 206 Cadet.
Should be a fun battle for the closing stages of the day today. It's going to be interesting if the championship does hold for 206 Cadet for Fox. It's very end with 2 drops of 0 to his tallies here in 2025. But it all comes down to where McNeely's final points tallies are by the end of the day today. Right now, as things stand, well, it's going to be wild. We're underway. And already starting things off, McNeely with control as to make their way on through. The rest of the field races out as Maxwell takes his 3rd position. Laser tries to focus ahead on the 538.
Ooh, a little bit of an issue right there for, looks like to be McNeely, who has lost pace and dropped back after having issues entering into the infield section. That will give the race lead over to the driver of Bo Laser, who is in that new gen machine. As he works his way through, he will stretch it out to a significant margin as Maxwell and McNeely now will do battle for that 2nd position. Throw in Hendrickson for a hunt. He's looking to have some pace here.
Hendrickson, remember, was about even with Maxwell for a while in that race before dropping back in the long run. See if there's improvement here today as they've already made their way through it for the first time. Laser controls a massive advantage of at least 12 kart lengths They zip their way down the back straightaway into the infield corners this time through. And it's going to be interesting where things shape up in the points again, because with McNeely and his situation with drops, it's going to be a question mark on where the points end up lying out here. Right now, that's going to be the toughest balance, is how many points get substituted out right now as they go. It wouldn't be enough with the drop. No matter what the math may be, believe it would be Fox in control. McNeely, at the very least, though, needs to find a way to be able to take this race lead, make it that much more comfortable for him, get his first win since round 9, where Fox missed one of his 2 races this season. That would be more beneficial here. Make that conversation a little bit more different, Taylor, if you can get him at least in your max points haul.
Absolutely, and we're going to see these drivers trying to negotiate that. Fox, of course, really good run all season to help get him max points all throughout the season, hence why he will be the champion in 206 Cadet. But keep an eye to see how it all plays out amongst our competitors here to get themselves ready for 2026. And Laser, McNeely, Maxwell, these 3 here are the biggest new superstars for the 206 Cadet category, I would have to say, that could have what it takes to put on some great races and some fun action for 2026 as the drivers work their way around the circuit. 7 minutes to go, plus an additional 2 laps, and McNeely's trying to close in to your race leader. 1.2 seconds separates them as he has dropped the hammer to a 52.2 here at the early stages of the race.
Big gaps forming up around the racetrack, absolutely here. Hendrickson has dropped back with that, so they have less than 7 minutes to go in this cadet race. Zipping around the hillside as they go on around. Laser in true sights for victory. Again, his first start in a cadet in 2025. For the most part, the regulars in the series have the ones able to get victories here, but today be a change to the status quo at the very least if things stay here. 51.9 last time by the stripe for reference. Everyone else ran 52 seconds or slower on circuit. Just has to work it around for 6 more minutes, Taylor, to keep it clean here. It's been a good day to close out the season. These drivers have been happy here all day long here on property.
Yeah, it's been an incredible day of action here. In all of our divisions, they have put on some stellar races. We have some very well-deserving champions coming on board here for the 2025 season. Looking forward to seeing some of these drivers make the trip out to Las Vegas here pretty soon to compete for Supernats. And looking forward to seeing how that will play out for some of these competitors going into the event as they work their way through here. Bo Laser in that 206 Cadet continues to lead the way with a significant margin. Not really has gained a whole lot of time ahead of McNeely. It's just kind of plateaued here for the moment.
Yep, just seen right now. Continue to march forward here. Half a race to go here for the 206 Cadets. Laser holds on to 1.5 seconds up. That gap is reducing. McNeely is finding some long run speed. This time through, though, 6/10 drum back. So just like that, Laser again able to find a lot more consistency. That's been the key about these races here today, Taylor. Majority of these drivers have only had about a 10th or 2 of fall off. In many cases, the best karts, I should say. And that's been where the consistency has been so critical for the top competitors.
Looking through here to get some information regarding with how this race is going to play out, and just seeing the difference in time and the handling these karts are showing in this stage of the race. Laser really has found a way to make sure he can keep that kart up pretty well, not really losing time, actually starting to make methodical gains as he just sets fastest lap of the race again. Really impressive with how he's able to keep control of that kart and just steadily make increments to where he continues gaining and gaining and gaining, while McNeely and Diesel Maxwell, they're starting to taper off a little bit. They're losing a little bit of time, struggling to find their way around the circuit, and that, in a sense, is going to be detrimental for them for a chance of winning in today's action.
Yep, right now, things are shaping up to be one of the calmer races of the entire day. One of the bigger intervals. It's good to see Maxwell at the very least racing on the racetrack, though, Taylor, because he had that smoke show, the bad type of smoke, when it comes to earlier on today. Lots of smoke coming out of the rear end of the kart. They've been able to fix it, get him back on the racetrack. The 141 will at least potentially get the podium here, as long as nothing blows up this time.
Well, so far that engine has been staying put together well enough to where he can keep on going and just basically just get it home in one piece. Don't need to cause too much issues. Don't need to force the envelope to where it overheats or causes problems. Just get it home. You know where you need to finish to get the points you need and have a good finish to the championship.
So only 2 minutes to work with on the board here as we run. Bo Laser has pulled away so much, he's at least 2 to 3 corners ahead here in these final stretches of this day. So as they continue to plot and plan on how this will close out, or rather at least finish up their seat time, is the better way to phrase it in this race. Mind you that later on in the card, we still have Sportsman, the Masters for 206. KA Jr. breaks things up with the 206 pattern for the light carts. Hit the racetrack to close out our coverage for the season here on Kart Chaser. Under 90 seconds to work with. Laser's got about 4 laps to go on his season as he's about to get himself a double victory day in his kart.
Not a bad way to wrap up the season, to pick up double victories, double wins, and of course come home with some extra hardware to get ready and get yourself set up for another incredible season. Because if you think about it, Justin, there's still some 206 racing that's going to be happening later on this year. If you think about it, we could see some of these drivers competing, whether it be at Daytona Kart Week down at Daytona, where we'll see a lot of the 206 categories racing. We also could see some of these drivers competing in the Apex Southeastern or Midwestern divisions that are happening in 2025 and 26, with the season opener for the Southeast division happening in December. And then you got the CKNA Winter Nationals happening in the first 2 days of January, January 2nd through the 4th, where we will see the action kick off for the CKNA drivers in their 2026 season.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting time at the start of the winter time. It's always interesting how things go on with the summer stretch, especially with all the Florida-based races. Daytona Kart Week, of course, in our talking point as well, amongst some of the races coming up. But we still have coming up to 2 laps to go in this one.
Field works their way around to get the 2 to go signal. Popsicle sticks in the air and across the line for Bo Laser, who now has about a 4-second advantage over Jackson McNeely. Diesel Maxwell now improving on his lap times a little bit, which is good, but still quite a ways off from your top 2 at the moment. Kyler Hendrickson, good opportunity for him to just learn, improve, and get ready to make a return here in 2026.
Yep, an exciting day of racing. Going to have its calm lulls at times. But these competitors are about to finish up. Coming up to the white flag for the cadets here today. Laser dominant McNeely second, but depending on how things look, might be still James Fox's title based on the points categories with the way the drop could factor in. No matter what here, it's going to still be difficult to close up with even with the drop substitution. White flag is out, final time around.
Incredible drive right here for our competitors in this race. And I got to say, Bo Laser is going to be one to watch here in 2026. Incredible drive for him as he works his way around the circuit final time.
Coming on through here for the checker flag. Laser, dominant day, dominant effort. Bo knows how to kart, as said earlier today. He keeps it up with the checker flag. Laser gets it done. Neely second, Maxwell third, Hendrickson be in the fourth position. All of them separated by significant margins, Taylor. All the cars getting themselves going here on track for Sportsman in the next few moments. Martinez and Fox up the front. Call in third. Vanilla in fourth. Branham in fifth. Jessup around Delta 6 in this field. Remember, Martinez and Fox put together a great battle earlier. Taylor, we'll see if that battle continues. There are 10 minutes on the board.
We'll certainly find out if that's the case here as drivers get themselves ready to go. James Fox, Blake Martinez, the class of the field here today so far on 206 Sportsman. Will they continue to put on another dominating performance here today? We're going to find out as we open the gates and set them out onto the track.
So they all hit the racetrack now for their portion of the show. As we get ready to see where things shape up here, Martinez wants those in the championship fight, as mentioned earlier today. He right now already has the title, with everybody else who made appearances or wins this season part-timers for the 2025 season. Martinez, the only driver in the field to make a start in every round in 2025. But we know Fox has the potential to be able to take a win here. It's going to be interesting where this goes. It out with Fox. So far, so good for Martinez. They work their way through the infield section. Fox trying to provide some pressure, trying to find a way back around the 38. They make their way through sector 3. Good battle pack forming up. The top 4 all stay close to start. But the question will be, where things shake up in the next couple minutes? Fox going for a charge.
Fox making the run here as he tries to get around Martinez for positioning, but Martinez is being very smart where to place that kart here today, and really good effort for him as he tries to run away from the competition. Fox, though, dealing with Branham and Simonelli right on his tail as they enter the infield.
Yep, all of them marching their way on through. Now 5 karts tied together. Jessup at least keeping up to start as well. Seen some of the intervals grow massively amongst a few of these karts earlier today. Branham now has the ability to battle it out. He's up to second. Making their way on through to Sector 1. Fox and Branham continue to fight on out. Looking to square things up amongst them as we work our way through. Which way will they rumble is the question. Fox holds on to second for now.
Fox is trying to hold on here, but Branham is really what we're seeing out of the 100 machine as he is trying to follow suit and keep up with the pace. As here comes Fox with a big run up towards the top of the hill of Daytona. Not able to do so as the 38 of Martinez holds station for the time being.
So far, Martinez has just been marching his way around. Blake Martinez already in line for what could be a lot of double champions 2025. Blake Martinez with a lot of experience. East Lansing and some of the starts previously showcased in. Seen plenty of him in these races. A very entertaining driver, to say the very least. Comes to our grassroots program. But Martinez still has 6.5 minutes to hold off the Hornet's Nest. 4 karts in the pack.
Driver sheet around the circuit. Martinez doing everything he can to keep the block and the passing away from Fox in order to maintain position here and hold on for the chance of winning this race to put an end to the domination of James Fox here today. As Fox tries to hold on, tries to find the opening 6 minutes plus 2 laps to go as they climb the banking. But Branham right there in the hunt as well. I say if these two get a little argy-bargy, watch out for Braden because he's definitely got the pace.
Yep, all of them work their way on through as they ditch Simonelli now as we go. Five and a half minutes to plot into plan. Right now, Fox just cannot seem to chip away the gap at the right spots to go for it.
A lot more patient than I expected, possibly because he's waiting to see how his kart turns out. Middle of the stage driver out of everyone inside the top 3. Leo Simonelli starting to close into this hunt, really trying to see if he can make some gains here, but Fox is just making sure he keeps the pressure on Martinez, see if he can make a mistake and get around for the race lead.
Still working our way through with 4 minutes to go in this one. Just 4 minutes to be able to battle it out here as the top 4 stayed stationary this entire time. No major passes, no major developments. It's been even Stevens when it comes to this fight. Where will the battles come from is the huge question. When will it spark up? They're running out of time to do something here, running out of time to show that sense of urgency in the midst of this fight with 3 minutes to go. At this point here, it seems like it's Martinez and Fox for the battle for the race win here, Taylor. But at this point, Fox has to figure out when to go. He can't just keep riding on behind if he wants to take this win.
He certainly is. He's got to find a way to make the attack go and make that pass. He could wait till those final 2 laps and running out of time to where if he starts to fight, could bring in Branham and Simonelli in the fight, which could be a whole nother situation for Fox.
Yeah, that's the huge part of all of this. By the way, Call is being scored ahead of Jessup now. Apparently, Jessup having an issue on the track. 62, having problems as they've fallen down the pylon here in this one. So 2 minutes to plot, 2 minutes to plan. We're coming up to a few laps to go in this one. So where do you make the move is the question as we work our way through.
Really good fight up here as Martinez is holding strong. Fox is working every which way he can, trying to find the angle he needs to make the pass work for him in his favor as they work their way up towards the midfield section of the circuit, out of the hairpin, and a big run coming as they come out through Daytona. Could we see something here looking at right around 4 laps to go?
So that time through, coming across the stripe with about a couple seconds to spare as they'll get 3 to go at the stripe. Martinez setting his fastest lap of the race last time through. Same set for Fox. The difference is Martinez set the fastest lap on this layout for the 206 Sportsmen this entire weekend. They rumbled their way on through. Fox continues to gain ground in the middle sector, but it's not been enough to be able to actually have a chance here. He needs to figure out something to set up Sector 3 for the run to the front straight away. If he really wants to try and win this race, tries a little bit higher line. That's not been working today. Coming on close on time. Coming through, 3 to go is the indicator.
3 laps to go. Martinez now has to make sure he has to be careful with how this will all play out. Here comes Fox, though. He's starting to look. He's looking to see if he can set himself up and make a pass like he has in the pre-final event around the inside of the racetrack in that final corner on the back straightaway. Doesn't do it this time, but he is itching and ready to go. He doesn't want to, though, make a mistake to where it allows Martinez to pull away.
Coming up to 2 laps to be able to work around here. Martinez trying to stay aerodynamic up at the front of the field. Double sticks in the air. 2 laps to work with. As the inflatable man in the background continues to dance. The battle is on to see if Fox can chip this gap down. They are 2 equal, if anything, on raw speed. That seems to be the big thing between these 2 here. Lap and a half to go, Taylor.
Lap and a half to go, and a lot of drivers trying every which way they can here to see if they can come out on the top step of the podium. Fox is got to find a way and kick in those afterburners, but Martinez doing a brilliant job to maintain and hold that positioning around the circuit, heading down into the corner to take the white flag.
White flag is out this time by. Final time around. They continue to try and scrap it out. Will Fox be able to find a way to chip it down? He's behind by 2 kart lengths. He's not been able to work his way around in this. It's been the difficult part of this fight. It's been getting the run to actually pull next to him.
Fox is right there. He is ready. He can sense that he is wanting to make the run for it, but now he's lost a little bit of time. Can he try something out of Daytona? I don't think so. Blake Martinez doing exactly what he needed to do, be on the defense and hold him off here. Cross the line, checkered flag for Blake Martinez.
So it goes to Martinez over Fox. Seminoak, Branham, Call, Jessup are the lineup drivers as they go. So that's how we get sorted for this one. 2 races complete out of a possible 5 here this afternoon. So that will bring the Masters up to the racetrack next once these karts are off circuit. 206 Masters. Seen some late race charges. Let's see where the charges really lay down here for the Masters. McCorkindale, remember, was a championship contender. Troy Toney is able to hold off Derek Hastings' late lunges. And will now go after it with J. Brian Williams in 3rd, Spilling 4th, Phelps in 5th, Seminoak in 6th, Kane in 7th. Then Joseph Durte would start 8th if they do hit the track. Melvin Gotze ended up getting the 9th position though. That's because light in the scales was the 83 machine, so a penalty. We'll see them at the back of the field. So they'll go
Did they say
off
what the
and
reason
sort
why
things
for
out here.
Melvin's penalty?
He was light on the scales, Taylor.
Another light scales.
A lot of drivers too light in weight, and it's important to get that weight down. It's a regulation for a reason. So the kart's just waiting for the word to hit the racetrack, Taylor. Pardon me.
I think that's the reason why. Because trouble for looks like to be Derek Hastings' kart.
Yeah, looks like they're trying to get it fired up here. Hastings keeping his hands raised. And now they're opening up the gates. Track is hot. After that little stall out, we'll battle it out for a 3rd time amongst our races here today for our finals. So we'll see where this goes here, Taylor. Your keys to victory if you're a Masters driver.
Well, pretty much for Troy, Toney, and Hastings, make sure you get a great start on the competition, get that good jump, be ready to go on the defense as quickly as possible, and then start making sure that that kart is set up for a long run pace where that kart's going to start eking out ahead of your competitors by the time we reach end of the 2 lap to go signal.
So they'll get all set to go here in the next moments or so and get ready to line up. A lot of separation in the field here. Don't think we're going to double up this time. It's based on how big the gap is right now for a lot of these competitors. We're going another time around. As a result here as they warm up the tires and then get themselves all situated for the double up. Troy Toney, by the way, looking to keep up a streak of victories here that's built up here today. Toney looking to try and win what would be his, on the season, 4th final of the campaign if he holds on. For Derek Hastings. Hastings looking for his first win since round 7. That came with him sweeping the day that afternoon. Round 5 was also a sweep among some of the starts made then. So just about ready to go as they double up and hit the banking. Get ready to go. Here we go. It's Tony on the inside. It's Hastings on the outside. Field coming up to the tram lines with the slow roll this time. One of the slowest rolls we've seen here. Green flag waits at the stand. Green flag comes out. We're underway. Tony clears on by Hastings. Hugs his way up to second. First battle side by sides for 4th. That clears by quickly. 5th makes a swap also. With a few drivers getting a little bit hasty here in the mid-pack.
Brian J. Williams looking to try to see if he can break his way up onto the podium position. Spilling and company also, but Hastings and Tony really now starting to go at it a little bit as they try to trade positions once again, heading out of the hairpin up towards Daytona. As Hastings leads and sits in second, Troy Tony looking to try to play keep away as they climb the banking. I'm loving to see how some of those drivers are trying to build up some extra momentum by getting further and further up the banking and then progress down to get that little extra. Hasn't really worked out just yet, but they'll find their way as Williams sits 3rd, and here comes Hastings with a head of steam.
Yep, Hastings trying to build something up here. Looking for a way to go. Last week, we've seen him appear at MCC Cincinnati. Was very competitive out at Cincy. It's one of the drivers that looks to try and sport himself to the point here today in his respective car. So will he be able to get the long run speed like we've already seen from Derek Hastings? We'll have to wait and see if that's going to come back up again for him today. Looks like that gap is staying close. Hastings is building the run, but nothing doing yet as the battle for 3rd heats up. Look who's up to 4th already. The 83 Gutsy is going all the way up to 4th.
Spillings and Gutsy, I gotta say, are putting on a good fight for position here as we watch the battle for the race lead on screen, as well as trouble. Or looked like Hastings went into the grass a little bit, trying to see if he can get to the inside of Tony. Did not work in his favor.
No, he definitely didn't. And now Hastings has to recover all that time again after setting the fastest lap of the race so far. The previous time by. Quarter distance through on time. Gunsey has now taken the 3rd position, by the way. He, despite Hastings going to the grass, wasn't the same pace as Hastings. The top 2 are in their own zip code up at the front of the field. They look to maintain control here with 7 minutes to go on the clock, time ticking away.
Still, though, plenty of opportunities for Hastings or for Tony to make sure that they don't lose out on a chance of victory here today in your 206 Masters. Williams not really making any headway to catch up. He's about 2 seconds behind your race leader right now. Melvin Goodsey also running some consistent lap times, but they're not really making headway to try to make a charge. That time by, Melvin Goodsey makes a run as here comes Hastings to the bottom. Beautiful pass heading into turn 1 as he will now take control of this race, but Tony tries to capitalize, cross him back over, but not anywhere near to try to set that pass up.
That's the thing. You have to be so careful in the choice on the pass attempt, Taylor. You have to choose the right spot. You have to wait for the place to pounce. And so far, we've seen where patience has been difficult. Hastings up front now after those squabbles. Now it's the thing, where does Tony get the switch back? Where does Tony go to try and find this position back? Gonsey is now chipping away as he's in drafting distance of these top karts. They work their way down the front straightaway again with Hastings. Even with the pass, 3/10 quicker than the kart behind, but Gonsey continues to be blisteringly quick in the 83 here. That machine from Melvin is on a tear.
He really is, Justin, and I gotta say, he may have something lined up for Troy Tony and Derek Hastings before it's all said and done. That kart seems to be set up to where that middle stage, when the tire temperatures start to come up a little bit, it really showcases how he's able to get the run he needs to make a charge in this late stage of the race. Tony's trying to get back up on the throttle a little bit here as well to get back around Hastings, but I think it's safe to say that Tony's starting to struggle a little bit for some grip right now as he's trying to work at the right. He's sliding a little bit here, too much here and there. Curious to see how he will be able to hold on the hard charger of Melvin Goodsey as he sets fastest lap again, a 49.39, a mere almost a little under half a second or half a tenth faster than Derek Hastings.
Yeah, they just continue to trade time after time for the most part, except if you're Gonsey at this point. With how that kart is ripping, there is a chance to be able to take away another step on the podium here. Would be a huge recovery from dead last. Remember, with the scale situation, they were a top 5 kart earlier. They didn't have this same speed earlier on today. So here they go. The battle for second is up and heating up. Here comes the 83. Will the run come immediately? No. Awaits for now. A chance to go. Tony taking a little bit tighter of a line this time with 4 minutes on the board.
Tony's just making sure he can hold off and go on the defensive to keep Goodsey behind him, or Goodsey behind him in this stage of the race. It's now a matter of just making sure he hits his marks, not goes offline, as Hastings, I think, almost went into the dirt a little bit right there again, but is still able to keep up the momentum as Tony is now kind of struggling at this late stages of the race.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a switch from earlier. Derek Hastings took a long while for the kart to wake up until the final 3 minutes or so, plus the laps. Then it started to turn his way. This time around, it started almost immediately in Hastings' benefit on speed. Tony has progressed the wrong way in speed here. And now you have to wonder if that's because the core temperatures compared to earlier, maybe, Taylor, something having to do with that in terms of the setup balance again. It just quite simply seems to be really fitting Hastings' choices here with his veteran leadership to lead up front.
It really seems to be the case. I think maybe Tony might have missed something with the setup a little bit, with how the weather is changed. I mean, we were expecting not really full clouds to come across the track here today. It was more supposed to be partly cloudy, mostly sunny type weather conditions. So interesting to see how this all plays out and how the struggles for Tony are happening here in the late stages of the race as drivers now continue. But the problem is Melvin Goodsey is just stuck. He's kind of like that cork in the bottle, and Tony is that cork, and the pressure is starting to build more and more to where Tony, if he's not careful, could fire off a hard-charging Melvin Goodsey.
You have 2 minutes to work with here as things tighten up a touch bit. Getting a little bit more interested to see where this fares out in the very end of this race. It's been a tight one all throughout the day today. Now we see where things go in the battle. Here we go. Goodsey all over the rear end of Tony. No move, no shakeup. So they continue to stay in a line and work together here. Try and find a way to push back up to Hastings. Keep the gap close so they both have a chance for the race lead in theory. They're coming up to 3, maybe 2 laps. No, should say maybe 4. When we get to the stripe, looks like it may be 3. It's going to be close on the time. It's going to be pretty close, in fact, on where we are on the separation. They're running 49-second lap times. It will indeed be 4 laps to go. So 3 to go next time by.
Godsey is trying to see if he can get around. He's running out of options, and it looks like now it's starting to taper off here, being stuck behind the driver of Tony here in these last couple of laps. So he's got to get around quickly if he wants to try to make a final push towards Derek Hastings right now. It's kind of stalled out around 0.8 of a second between second and third and your race leader. So he's got to think of something and do it quickly with 3 laps to go.
Right now, just ticking away to the 3 to go mark. It's been a calm race where we've seen Godsey charge up, but he's kind of plateaued here. Hastings has been able to get his legs back out again on the longer run. He's the fastest of the 3 again to build the buffer. So now this all comes down to, will there be a mistake? Remember, in the first place, before the pass was made, it was a mistake from Hastings that's seen him have to take a little bit more time before he made the pass around the halfway point of this race. He hasn't really made any mistakes since then, though. Middle sectors where they seem to gain. Tony's been very good in the technical areas, but the raw speed and the teeth of the gearing have been benefiting Hastings this entire time. 2 laps to go.
Look at this. Troy Tony finally found that little extra picked up 0.3 of a second on Derek Hastings right there. But the problem is he's running out of time as he just set a new track record.
Yep, so here we go. Lap and a half to work with on the board. Hastings maintains half a second up. They get their way through on the cut. Now as they work their way on through, Tony trying to chip away fast as possible here. 1 lap to go coming up. Final time around. White flag is in the air. It's Hastings ready to close it out and finish up with a race win. Can Tony chip away? Can Godsey pressurize a mistake from 20 car lengths back?
Can he find a way? I don't think he is. With how much time's left on this race, he has got to make sure he makes some major sense in some of the heavy braking zone corners, but so far that's not going to be the case. As for Derek Hastings, just has to hit his marks, not slide the tires too much, and he is looking to bring home a race victory in 206 Masters.
Here we go. Final lap, final run. Hastings takes the win. Troy Tony takes second. Melvin Godsey takes third, with J. Brian Williams spilling Simonellic amongst those in the field. Phelps dishes down 7th. Chad King gets an 8th place run today. Those drivers having some big intervals to close up. They'll get off the racetrack here after this one. So 206 Masters complete past the halfway point in our finals here this evening. Still have 2 more to go as this continues to be one of the longer days of the season. In fact, Taylor, last week things finished up by 4 o'clock, but today a little bit longer timeline. Jordan Lapham's up front. Andrew Vowell's in second. Mason Gallion in third. Siva Kumar, Wade, and Feitinger are the rest of the drivers. Now, K.A. Jr., though, here is the difference right now per some of the estimates here. Right now, with the drops factored in, it would actually be Laser, in theory, up to second according to the point sheet, with Avalos down in third. So a bit of a shakeup potentially in the points here, with the drops starting to factor. That also is putting Galleon with a drop today so far, and that is with Laser back-to-back drops used to his season. So that's a little bit of a twist for the championship here, especially with the 64 now having a little bit of a bigger cushion than we originally had on the estimate coming in.
It really is. So now the question is going to be, how will this all play out amongst them? I mean, Mason Galen, as long as he can hit his mark, keep it clean, he's guaranteed to win this championship for the most part. I mean, Laser, he's unfortunately not going to finish second, I would think, given the fact of the drop weeks included. Same thing with Avalos. They'll probably move up to second. Lapin may also have a charge right here if he's able to get full points.
So, of course, things have to go through the tech lines for some of the point standings here. Of course, going to be interesting where 206 Masters goes. That will be something to watch for if that is available. But the point situation, again, to that sheet. Cadet, James Fox has confirmed himself to be a champion. That difference ends up being less than 200 points, with McNeely getting 2 second-place runs. Sportsman does go to Martinez, as mentioned already, no matter what with the final situation. And now this is going to be one of the races where anything can happen. And you'll have to keep an eye potential on social media by the end of the day, see where things shake up just based on the timing of our afternoon schedules. But Lapham warming up tires. We're going an extra lap. It's getting pretty dark out there, Taylor. It's getting pretty shady. I'm not sure. I think the track has some lights. I'm not sure. It looks to be okay, but we'll have to see because it is getting pretty dark.
51 degrees right now for the track, with winds gusting at 12 miles an hour. It actually feels like 44 degrees. So, and the thing is, sunset begins in less than an hour. Thankfully, we only have 2 races left, but still, it's going to be quite close at Eden. Yeah, we got plenty of lighting, I would say, for the back half of the circuit. So for the rental racing, it'll be no problem. But this area here, there's a little bit of lighting here as we get the green flag, and away we go with the KA Junior. Big time slide right there from Lapin as he tries to gather it back up, and Avalos as they work their way. But I think it looks like to be Avalos who has checked out on the competition as they head down the backstretch.
Yeah, already an impressive drive for these drivers to have to battle it out here in the cooling conditions. Where will things shape up by the end? We'll have to see. All that's while the front of the field marches its way on through. Just got confirmation. We do have lights here at K1 Circuit Whiteland. So if it comes down to it, we do have some lighting here if it ends up getting too dark. Jordan Lapham has the 7 in front of the 64. Avalos right now is in front in the championship battle amongst the 2 of them on track at least, but a lot to still mathematically calculate for the overall title fight as they make their way on through. This is going to be nerve-wracking.
It certainly is, because Avalos is doing everything he can to try to keep Galen behind. The further they can keep Galen behind, the more likely they'll get some much-needed championship points in order to try and hold off the chances of him winning this championship. It's still a long shot, but those 200 points could come in handy for them as far as determining who will come out in second between Avalos and Lapin.
Yes, indeed. So as they rumble through, separation starting to build a little bit here amongst the packs. 45 4s being turned by these KA chassis. And remember, these karts a little bit quicker than, say, the very least compared to the 206. It's the 206 engine with the Briggs & Stratton package. Known to be a good way for beginners to be able to make their way into racing. The KA chassis provides a lot more faster speeds, but is different in terms of the cost caps that you can see. These KA machines also drive differently, a lot more draft dependent, where you can take a lap or two to close up the draft if you have a good enough kart.
Looking through these drivers, got a good little battle for the third spot or the fourth spot between Fightinger and Siva Kumar, who's looking to try to get a good finish here today. Siva Kumar as well, looking at, has only made 2 starts prior to this. A 6th and a 7th are his best finish in the season. With only 3 starts to his name, so looking to try to improve upon that. And of course, he got that early podium in the 206 juniors, so good looking to try to come home with a double podium finish here today.
Yes, indeed. So as they go, the lights have turned on. Let there be light is what we said here today. And well, they definitely have to use the lights to see. Things closing up for the race lead yet again. Fellows keeps up the pressure high. Trying to find a way to get max points out of this race at least. Didn't maximize the points in the heat race. They worked their way with 6 minutes to plot and plan as Gallion loses ground on track.
Gallion trying to do everything he can here to make a run, but I think it might be too little too late as Avelos tries to close the gap on Lapin, looks to the inside, tries to send it into the infield section, not able to as Lapin shuts the door.
Still as they drive. Taking their time to think, taking their time to go. Out of the banking they go. Fellows throughout this run. Showcase speed all day today. Throughout this championship. Again, as part of his social media, says he's a straight A student. Take him for his word for it. One of those in the camp when it comes to the AMAX drivers. Of course, one of the biggest teams in the area that runs a fair bit of racing in the region. Had successful times last time.
Yeah, the AMEX organization has really put a major effort here in the Midwest, as well as in CKNA competition as well. You always see a giant AMAX tent somewhere there at the CKNA events throughout the season, as well as we see the drivers try to work their way through. Lapin doing whatever he can to hold off the hard charges of Avelos.
Yep, everything's been kept at bay throughout this entire race, to say the least. Looking at how the top 3 have shaped up, they've stayed how they started. Fightinger has worked his way up to 4th, by the way, amongst the karts on circuit. It's been a rough day for Will, who we've seen as a contender. A bit of squabbling again. The top 3 compress. Gallion stays on the rear end. Make their way out of Daytona, coming to 4 minutes to go for their seasons here. No changes yet, but Lapham continues to feel the pressure. When do you pull the pin, Taylor? When is too late? When is it too early?
Right now for him, it's now go time because you're under immense pressure from another driver behind you. You want to go for it, and he's firing off now. Avelos to the inside. Galen's going to follow suit, and Lapin drops all the way back to 3rd after that. So that now opens the door to see what what Avelos can do. Can he now be the rabbit and run away?
Can he get himself a distance built up here now with the change? Let's take a look and see where this shapes up. Gallen now up to 2nd. Lapham with that dropped all the way down to 3rd. Gallion Looks to try and find a way to cut. Shower line. Lapham trying to go from fairly distant back. Didn't work out for him. Still lined up bumper to bumper. 3 minutes to go as they pass by the fall trees once more. Into the infield they work once more, staying single file.
Well, watching on here to see how this plays out. Galen starting to try to pick up the pace just a little bit. In fact, his times are showing that he's trying to stay within striking distance as here comes Lapham back down to the bottom to make the pass on Galen. Galen tries to also overcome and cross him over, but did not work out for him.
It absolutely didn't in that situation. It's been a run to remember for some. It's been one where it's been difficult to move forward for others. Gallion again, squabbling for second. Now Lapham in front. As a result of that set squabbling, Valos has pulled away a fair bit in the fight. Points going to be such a mathematical equation here coming up here. They should be coming around to what will be maybe on the margin. 4 laps to go. We come up to the stripe coming up based on the pace they're running here. They do have a little bit of traffic. No, check that. That's your race leader up in front. That's how big the gap has built up. Valos has just ran away.
Incredible drive right here as Will Fightinger sets a new track record here today with 1 minute plus 2 to go as Avalos continues to stretch out that lead here. Lapham, he's got to find something to try to make a charge here as they cross the line. And Lapham responds with a fast lap indeed. 0.8 of a second with 3 laps, maybe 4 laps left to go in the race.
Yep, this is going to be close in terms of some of the markers here. Lapham, fastest lap of the race last time by. He's trying to make this a quick sprint to the very end to close this gap. But only 0.2 picked up with that margin. That's going to be not enough to be able to get there. As they work their way on through. 3 to go for K.A. Jr. 3 laps to go. Ravel's up at the front of the field to be able to maintain his rhythm. Again, Lapham's been taking a bit more of a wider line and a shower line as a result through 1 exit, 2 entry. It's been helping a little bit to close those 2 each time. He's within just about the drafting distance here, Taylor. There is a chance for Lapham to try and go for the win.
There is a small chance, but the thing is, he's caught him. Now can he pass him as they come around to get the popsicle sticks? 2 laps to go here for your leaders. Can Avalos hold on strong for the final stages of this race as they work their way into turn number 1? Lapham tries to look to the inside. He's not close enough as he sets another fast lap of 44.3, and he is hard charging his way to the front.
Yeah, looking to charge as fast as possible to take this race win away. Valos trying to hold on for dear life. Lapham right there within a kart length to be able to try and go for the race lead. Less than 2 laps to go as they make their way on through. The 8:17 is on the charge. Can he make enough of a charge to go for the lead and the win? White flag is out. Final time around. Lapham looking for a place to poke. He's not close enough for the lunge. He goes flat, nearly goes underneath the 7. Loses ground, though, as he works his way to Sector 2.
He's trying to make a big run here. Latham, though, I think is running out of options to try and make a send. Avelis just doing everything he needs to place the kart in the right positioning and make the run through as they come up to Daytona for the final time here in KA Junior Racing in 2025 at IKC. And out of the final couple of corners, Avelis has the advantage.
Checker flag waves. Avelos holds on. Lapham in second by 2/10. Gallion finishes in third. Weitinger in fourth. Sivakumar in the top five. Wade down in sixth position in this race. Look top to bottom at the KA Junior Final grid as we see another barn burner pop up. So we look to see where our final now goes. The senior lights ready to unite. Let's take a look at their starters. Levi Wilbur in front, AJ London second, Brandon Heber in third, Colton Kelly in fourth, Lucien Laser in fifth, Colin Harden in sixth, Evan Patton starts seventh, Levi Smith in eighth, Tyler Sims starts ninth, Andrew Goldman rounds out your top 10 starters. Robert Carroll, Jeff Lund, and Zachary Allen are your other drivers. It was a DNS mark, though, for Zachary Allen coming in. We'll see if Allen does hit the track. Top to bottom of the running order here for this one as we continue on our Championship Day festivities. How are the things going for some of the Artano fights? Well, no other updates to inform you on yet in terms of official tallies coming through. But just waiting for the command to go here. And for potential pickup, Taylor, your thoughts for the senior lights, our final race of the season as they hit circuit.
What an incredible race to cap off the 2025 season for us here on Kart Chaser grassroots coverage of the IKC. And Levi Wilbur, AJ Lund, and Braden Heber have all been incredible drivers to watch this season in the 206 light division. Heber, of course, an incredible driver. AJ Lund, we saw him win the KA Senior Championship this season. Wilbur, I got to say, he could play a little bit of a spoiler if we keep an eye on him today.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting race. Once again, we've seen a little bit of the battles here today. With Wilbur having speed, Lund was able to keep up. Heber had to fight just to get the third spot as one of the drivers is struggling to get around the racetrack here. See if everyone's able to double up here one more time on the look for your final grid of Indy Karting Challenge for 2025. They march their way on through. Wilbur looks to continue. It's been solid pace here today in the senior lights, with everyone else staying within the tow in the pack. Here we go. Levi Wilbur ready to set things up for the tram lines. Fans watching with intrigue as we get ready for our final race on coverage here on Kart Chaser here this season. Field comes by to the green flag. Green flag is out. We're underway. Lund tries to keep it next to. Wilbur doesn't get the success of that. Instead, it's going to be Heber holding on to third. Now the lunge comes. Lund goes for the lead. Lund takes it away, and Heber tries to get a run for second. Instead, elects to go in line.
Smart move right there by Heber to just settle in. You know you have plenty of time to work with. Don't want to cause yourself the chance of losing out on the opening laps here. Just settle in, find a spot, and just start logging laps. You know if you set your kart up right, you're going to be there where it counts towards the end of this race. He's got the pace. Wilbur and Lund, let them be the rabbits. go out and chase them when they get tired a little bit and make the run at the end. As they cross the line here, Lund has about a 4 kart length advantage over Wilbur. Heber hot on his tails, and then it's, of course, Colton Kelly and Lucian Laser to round out the top 5 as they snake their way through over to the back half of the course.
Yeah, this is going to be where the intrigue comes into play here. Keep in mind, Brandon Heber came into this race ready to get an Iron Championship, potentially. With some of the drops factored on in, that difference coming in is about, on estimate, 68, give or take. Colton Kelly need a lot more than 4th, though. In fact, would probably need the win, and depending on how things go, would need it to be a massive swing compared to his normal 170 to 165-ish that he scored in the vast majority of the races this season. So it's Lund who pulls away for now. 8 minutes to go in the season as they work their way through.
Looking through here, Heber is now just settled in, doing exactly what we touched on, just settling in, waiting to see if Wilbur and Lund will come to him. He's got the pace here. He's really staying right on the heels of Wilbur, not losing a ton of time. And with those 3 working together, that's allowing them to pull away from Kelly, Laser, and Hardin as they progress through this run. Laser not really making any headway along with Kelly as they're too far separated. As they come across the line right here, how about Levi Wilbur kicking in the afterburner, setting fastest lap of the race? Wilbur, though, has quite a bit of work to do. 4/10 to make up as he makes a big run out of turn 3 and 4.
Good run by Wilbur to close it up. 4/10 nearly picked up in the span of a lap alone. But there's still plenty of time to go. He chooses now, though. How about that run to the inside? Wilbur builds it up, takes himself the race lead, and looks to try and take off and away. 5:06 now in front. Heber just trying to maintain draft. As here we go, Lund with an air poke. Couldn't get alongside again.
Look at Wilbur. He goes on the defensive to try to force Lund to go around the long way up on the outside lane, and that could open the door for the driver of Heber to close back up. He was losing a little bit of time, but with your top 2 battling it out as Lund lunges down to the bottom of the racetrack and picks back up the race lead here after a couple of corners. Now Wilbur crosses him up again. He'll go back to the bottom of the racetrack to take back the race lead, but it's not going to work because Lund gets the momentum on the outside to make the pass stick and hold on to the position.
Tense fighting continues on with the side-by-side. Having to back off Lund. Had to reset it. It's allowing Kelly and Laser right back into the conversation here. That's how heavy the battling's getting amongst these front runners. Here comes another set. Lund inside. Once again, this run built up alongside. Door to door, bump to bump. Wilbur takes the edge. Here comes Heber. He forces it in along the curbing. Brendan Heber to the race lead.
Heber from downtown takes it and makes it work, but it's not going to go in the favor as now Lund and Wilbur will battle for second with trouble from Kelly and Laser thrown in the mix. This is exactly what Heber needed in order to make it work out for him. Now he can play the rabbit and start to run away as we approach the halfway point of today's action in the final race of the day. Lap traffic up ahead for Heber as he's got to make short work of it and quickly run away.
Yeah, now having to work hard as much as possible. Lap traffic, believe, is ahead here. They have given the blue flags. Lap traffic parks in middle. Heber goes to the left instead. Wilbur gets around. So does Lund. So does Kelly. So does Laser. They all get around with originally some checkups. Now we have some changes on the send. Wilbur jumps his way to second. Make it first. Lund is the one in second. Heber gets shuffled all the way behind Kelly and all the way behind Laser in the span of a couple corners.
That was not a good run. Heber got blocked off, which made him lose all of that momentum he had. And now with 4 minutes plus 2 laps, he's now got to regroup and reset and go back up towards the front of the field here as Lund and Wilbur continue to battle for the race lead. The good thing is that everyone ahead of Heber is battling for position. He'll get to the inside of Laser to take the 4th spot away and makes the charge, but Laser will fight him on the bottom, but Heber power moves around the outside to get that spot back.
Yeah, some incredible fights here. This is the best race of this night, potentially, here for the later half of the card. But it's still not over. Lund looking to build something up again. No one willing to majorly wait here for opportunities to open up. They all want the spots now. Heber is back and forth. Lund is going for the lead again. AJ Lund takes the spot, but here comes Kelly. Kelly, he needs a win. He gets to the point. Heber trying to take back 3rd as he shuffles past Wilbur. All sorts of squabbling.
All sorts of squabbling indeed, and this is exciting. 3 minutes to go. We're not even approaching the 1 minute mark yet, and we are seeing the intensity pick up more and more as trouble for one driver gets a little bit too bogged down right there. Lund will try to get to the back bumper of Wilbur once again as Heber now starting to get picked back up and make that charge that he needs to challenge your top 2 as they come across the line. I'm curious to see what the lap time Braden Heber set. He set a real quick time, just about identical to Colton Kelly, your race leader.
Yep, still not done in terms of the fight now as they have more than 2 minutes on the clock still. More battling building up for second. Yet again, some sends on the far side of the track. Again, everybody shuffling back and forth like musical chairs this race. Heber down in 4th. You have Wilbur up there again. It's nobody who's been able to dictate control of this race here so far. Let's make the way on through. We still have coming through 5 coming next time by. Should be about 4 laps to work with for Lund in front. Wilbur, Kelly, Heber, Laser is the top 5 as we go.
The lights electrify the action here today in the final race here of 2025 for the Indy Karting Challenge, and it is showcasing the action here today. I think it's the first time we've had some under the light action in this season as drivers negotiate. Here comes Wilbur back around to the inside of Lund to make the pass stick. Lund tries to lunge his way back up to the front of the field. Not going to work out for him as he drops back to second. Heber stuck behind Kelly, and this allows the top 2 to run away with a minute to go.
3 to go. Next time by is going to be the marker based on how much time was on the clock there. Lund over the rear end, trying to lift up Wilbur. Did he take a flat line? No. Heber does take a spot on Kelly, though. Able to make the pass for 3rd. As the battle for the race lead makes its way on through. Higher arc for Lund. Over the rear end. Defensive line for a moment. Wilbur. As he covers off the 656. Coming around, less than 25 seconds to go. Now on the clock as they head up to Daytona. The pressure is on for this battle for the race win. Lund, another run. Dies off to the inside. 3 to go. As he takes the poke again, Lund takes the send. AJ Lund again to the lead, but a crossover, Wilbur takes it back.
Wilbur's being smart here as they work their way through. He backs off the corner a little bit to let Lund overshoot it quite a bit, and then he'll just power his move away around the outside to get the spot back. It's brilliant heads-up driving that we're seeing from Levi Wilbur.
Yeah, still not done with Lund now in Arsen. Gets alongside. Now side by side. Wilbur's had to back off a couple times in this section near contact. Wilbur likes to try and set it back up. Tries the line on the diamond. It's not worked all day. No sense of coming the final corner. here at this track with this layout. Double sticks in the air, 2 to go. Lund goes full defensive, tries to push up Wilbur. Wilbur tries to cross him up. Wilbur gets alongside, now gets back in line again. Heber in the popcorn seat as the top 3 look to fight it out for one more checkered flag. Wilbur again on the poke.
Wilbur trying everything he can as he makes his way through. Heber right there as well. He'll want to try to get around position as here comes Wilbur around the outside, but AJ Lund has the preferred line as he'll go off track. Wilbur in the grass for 2 wheels and now has to try to hold off the hard charge of Heber.
Here we go. Coming up to the white flag for our coverage this season. Final time around as the battle is on for the win. Lund hugs the inside. Outside, Wilbur tries to get the diamond line. He hasn't been able to get alongside in the past couple laps. Heber could disrupt it if he chooses. Heber likes to push Wilbur instead. Lap traffic is ahead. They have Carroll just up the road. Carroll goes way up the outside. Contact for the race lead. Off the track goes Lund. Lund taking 3 wide in the heart of the field. Laser and company join on in. It's Heber who's gone on through to the race lead with contact as they pass by the lapper. Can anybody close up to the gate?
A lap car caused him the chance to lead a few moments ago. A lap car is what saved Braden Heber to take home the checkered flag and win here in 206 Light.
A wild end to this one as Braden Heber could very well have just gotten himself the title with that race. It's going to be AJ Lund, Laser and Kelly, Wilbur down in 5th instead, with Hardin down in 6th. Smith, Sims, Goldman, and Carroll are your top 10. Jeff Lund finishes a lap down amongst the drivers who are able to take the checker flag for our final race of our coverage here, Taylor. Your final thoughts as the sun sets and the kids are about to kart.
Absolutely. Well, we got to quickly give a big shout out to our Kid Kart competitors as well. Even though we haven't really covered them, give a big shout out to what could possibly be some of our championship competitors in that category. Luke Sutherland, Naomi Simonelik, and Kai Phelps looking to try to battle it out for that championship. A great job for them, and looking forward to seeing what 2026 will hold, because I know for a fact we'll be back here next year with how hard the group at K1 Kart Chaser and the entire production crew out there at K1 Circuit in Whiteland love to showcase the grassroots of karting here at the oldest circuit in North America.
Once again, we'd like to thank everyone for tuning in for today's coverage and throughout the season for the Indy Karting Challenge here from Whiteland, Indiana. For everyone, a part of the Kart Chaser crew here this weekend and throughout this season, for Taylor Burris, for everyone, including Ian Boley, I'm Justin Prince saying so long. Enjoy the rest of your evening. You've been watching today's action here for Kart Chasers coverage of IKC, the Indy Karting Challenge from K1 Circuit Whiteland. We'll see you next season.